Greetings. Welcome to 3 for Free Tarot Tuesday. If you're new to my channel, I have been celebrating the anniversary, the 50-year anniversary of my ownership and using the Hoi Polloi Tarot, a knockoff version, which is now out of print, of course, um, of the Rider-Waite Tarot, which is my first tarot deck and my only tarot deck for most of my life until recently. And when I realized it was 50 years old, I decided this year to celebrate that, and I have been offering on Tuesdays 3 card readings to 3 lucky subscribers who send me information, which is outlined below in the description box. So it tells you what you need to do if you would like to be considered for a free 3 card reading. And usually they would ask a general question, some kind of an open-ended question, at least tell me an area that they are looking for a reading about, a subject matter. We don't answer yes or no questions. That's not a good kind of a question for a tarot deck. But if you want to know something about your employment or your job or your ability to focus on, or whatever it is that you are having some questions about, just drop me a little line and give me the information, and I will put your name in the bowl, and not literally, I will draw you from the bowl, and we'll do a free reading for you that month. It's just a limited offer. I'm only going to do this for so many times, and then it's just in celebration of this. But really, it's not just an opportunity for you to have a free reading. I use these readings as a teaching tool for everyone. So even if you're not chosen for reading, I encourage you to watch the reading, because it will help you maybe understand how tarot is easily understood, how it works. A lot of people get a little bit worried when they try to read the tarot deck. Okay, so anyway, I have a little bit of information for you where these are anonymous readings. Of course, though, we don't use their real names when we're doing the reading. But we have a screen name that people are known by, they wish to be known by, so they know it's for them. And today's reading is for an adult male. We're going to call him TD. TD. It's a little bit unusual. One thing is a little unusual about, two things that are unusual about this reading is that TD is a male, but he is a twin. He's a twin, which I don't think we've done any readings about a twin before. So that might pertain or might not pertain to the reading. We'll see. Another thing is that TD requested a deck, and he requested the Cat's Eye Tarot, which I have read several times on this channel. I don't use it all the time, but if you like cats, it's a wonderful deck. It's a beautiful card cat deck. Some tarot decks have a lot of cute pictures about cats, but I don't find them reading that well, don't give you that much information. This is a cat tarot deck that really gives you a lot of, I like to read from it. It gives you a lot of good information. It has a good understanding. The author had good understanding of tarot, I think, when these illustrations were designed. So, that being said, the question TD is asking me today has to do with relationship issues. TD seems to not be real secure in not a particular relationship. I don't think he has not identified the relationship is with his twin. He just volunteered that he was a twin, so I know it's important to him. And I don't know if it's a relationship with one person, or I think I got the feeling that it was just general. He's a little insecure in relationships. He has the ability to make relationships, apparently, but he's not always sure if he's perceived as he chooses to be perceived, or if he understands people to the extent that he can. He seems a little unsure of how he stands with other people. That's what I'm getting. So we'll just look at what the cards have to say. But it has to do with relationships. Okay. And I'm going to use, like I said, I'm going to use the Cat's Eye Tarot. So let me change my camera and we'll see what the cards had to say for TD today. Okay, I have TD's cards in front of me, and I asked the tarot deck to identify cards that would, number one, represent you, the querent, which would be, in this case, this is TD. This represents TD, which is the Queen of Pentacles. This would be on more specific. I want to say it's how he feels around people around him, how he feels. Okay. The next card would be the them card, and this is how reflects how TD might perceive how others see him, what he thinks people think of him. Okay. And the third card is us, which is the combined energies of TD and the people around him. And I'm asking the cards to tell me, you know, how this could balance out, how we could go forward from here, how, you know, this insecurity, issue of insecurity for TD might be resolved. So again, we have TD, we have this card representing TD and how he feels around other people, other relationships, and here we have the them card, which reflects how TD feels that other people see him. And remember, this is important because we don't know how other people see him. We don't have that kind of information. So we're just going to ask his perception, how we think that his relationship is perceived, how they see, how he thinks they see him, which would very much reflect his sense of belonging to, you know, his position in the relationship. Okay. And then thirdly, we have the Emperor card in the position of us, which means represents us as the querent and his people around him, his companions, his housemates, his, you know, whatever it is he's thinking of. Okay. Let's look first of all, and I want to say, since I don't know, I can't be inside of TD's mind. TD is not. Usually when I do these readings, the querent is not here with me, so I rely a lot of getting information from a birth chart. And I do know TD's, I don't know his entire birth chart, but I do know his sun. Let me see. His sun is in Capricorn and his moon is in Virgo. I do know that. So how that affects the reading, we don't know. We'll see. But usually somebody with a sun in Capricorn, that's somebody that reflects the personality of the querent. And that's usually somebody has Capricorns are usually tend to be serious. They tend to be concentrate totally on whatever their matter of hand is. And this could be very much part of TD's problem, that if TD has some insecurity about how other people perceive him, that might be all he can think about at the time. Because remember, first of all, it's very interesting because we're talking about a male. It's a male. TD is a male. But the Queen of Pentacles, and Pentacles, of course, having to do with relationships and people and family, you know, that's, you know, concrete, how you get along at work, how you get along at home, how you get along with your family, your siblings, your friends. That's very much a part of Pentacles. So a male in this situation, and look, we're talking about a queen. We're talking about a queen, which is a very feminine, portrays very feminine, traditional feminine energies. Not that TD is effeminate or anything. I don't know that about TD, but I do know that this is not men. All men should have some feminine qualities, and all women should have some masculine qualities. That's just makes you a better balanced person. But the Queen of Pentacles puts this feminine energy onto the home, onto the relationships, onto, you know, the job. And that's sometimes gets people a little bit in trouble because we don't think of a queen. Those feminine energies, remember, you know, the tradition, you know, when women went to work, finally got in order to succeed in the workforce and to be, what quote, workforce, and in order to be accepted in manager positions, etc., they had to put aside some of their feminine energies, right? And show more some of their more masculine energies, because that's what we equate with success in this culture. I don't agree, but that's the way it traditionally has been. Okay. But anyway, so this was interesting that this card came up because of TD being a Capricorn. If he is if he just is concentrating, why don't I have any, why don't I have, why can't I keep friends? Why do I get into so many fights? Why do I feel uneasy or uncomfortable around people sometimes? This could be why, because he's focused in on this issue that has bothered him from time to time. We'll see. Let's see. Also, be having a moon in Virgo. Um, the moon in Virgo has a lot to do with being very fastidious, liking things in order, liking things, neat and tidy, no loose ends. And also, it also very often is somebody who's reserved. This is emotion, their emotions. Their moon is how they present their emotions. And this is somebody who's reserved or shy. So while they love other people very strongly, they're a little uncomfortable seeking the love. They want people to just love them without having to go out to seek out the love. That sometimes happens. So we'll see what how these cards compare or balance out with what we have learned about TD's birth chart, from TD's birth chart. Okay, so again, I said I'm going to the Queen. We're talking about the Queen so far. Okay, now, we've touched a lot on that already. That this part of this is an obsession with TD. I think at this point, that if this is something that has been the majority of his thoughts are worried. If you go to a party, for instance, and you're unsure of how you're going to fit into the party situation, right? And you go in there and you worry and you look how did they greet you when you came in? Where do you sit? Who's sitting beside you? Are they talking to you? Are they telling jokes? Are they sharing stories? Sometimes you go to situations and you feel a little bit left out of the situation, and you have a choice. You can either pull yourself back into the situation and make yourself sort of vanish, be invisible in the party so nobody notices how uncomfortable you are. And so of course you're not going to have a good time. People aren't going to, if you feel like you want to vanish from sight, people will stop seeing you. That's just kind of the truth. Or the other choice is to be overcoming that and putting that out of your mind. Don't worry, I'm not going to worry how people think of me or whatever. I'm just going to go and I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to put my best foot forward, be friendly, be comfortable, try to make other people comfortable that are around me, have a good time, enjoy a couple hours together, and then I'm going to go home and we'll see if anything comes of it. That's the more balanced approach. But sometimes somebody like TD, again, might be so concerned about what other people are going to think of him, and then he might have some issues with that. He might have some problems. Okay, then we see how he thinks other people are seeing him, which is going to relate very strongly with this, right? And because if he thinks people don't like him, it's going to make him more and more shy and more self-conscious. Here we see the Ace of Pentacles, and this is such a cute little card because it's the paw. Well, it's not so cute necessarily, but it has the mouse, and the cat is holding the tail down on the mouse. And if you ever had a cat, even when they have toy mouses that they play with, mice, the hunt is the game to them. It's, yes, they might capture and kill the mouse and eat it. If it's a real mouse, they might. But more often than not, they seem to set more joy because most of them are pretty well fed. Most cats today. And so it's more about the game. It's more about the game of, they catch them and then they toy with him a little bit, then they let him go and they catch him again. So if that's what he thinks, if that's what TD is going to think about how he thinks other people think of him, maybe they don't realize, maybe he's worried that they don't realize that he doesn't think of the relationship as serious. Maybe he thinks they like him or they see him, but maybe they don't take him seriously when things bother him, that they just, oh, that's just TD. That's just being TD. This happens a lot in relationships, TD. Sometimes they just think they're so used to being worried about things, about little things that don't matter to most people, that they have trouble relaxing around you. Maybe it's too much. It's too much effort. Okay, this one, they want to enjoy. This cat wants to enjoy the hunt. It's not about it being such hard work. He's captured him. They capture it. They capture it. But you see, if you have a cat at home that has a toy mouse, he'll capture it and then he'll forget about it for a while, and then he'll go back and discover it again all over again. He starts that game all over again, doesn't he? That's what they do. It's the enjoyment of it. You know, not taking it too seriously. And if you are trying to take, if it's just relationships with friends or whatever, if you're trying to take that too seriously and read too much into it, what it means to you, what it means to them, if you try to read too much into it, sometimes that takes the joy out of it. We all have friends, or sometimes it's hard to be their friend. I say that a lot of times about certain people. It's really hard to be their friend. I try so hard to be their friend, and it's too much work. It's too much work. Is it worth it? I don't know. I don't know. Um, this card also speaks of patience, though. It speaks of possibilities. It speaks of, because it is the Ace of Pentacles. We have to remember that this being the Ace of Pentacles, without even worrying about it being cats, it is a card which signifies the beginning of something new in Pentacles, something new. Okay? This question. It is an opportunity for you, TD, to make this right, to make it right. If you try and you give thought and don't worry too much about what your insecurities, and just try to relate with people. If you're just trying to go out there and just do it, just live your life, your efforts for that will be rewarded. So stay grounded and trust that it's going to be okay, because you're probably a wonderful person. You're probably a really wonderful person. Okay, finally, we do have the Emperor. I want to go the Emperor, which is like, this is kind of summing it up. Now, if we have a chance to go forward, where can that go? Where can that take us? The Ass card. Where can we come together with them? Okay. Interestingly, we have the Emperor in this position, and the Emperor is very much in balance with the Queen of Pentacles. Even though this is a minor arcana card, this is major. This is very strong feminine energy in Pentacles, and here we have male energy. We have that male energy, which is, by very nature, this is in here. We have a tomcat, and the tomcat is tough love in this deck. Can you see that picture? I hope you can see that, because this is really adorable. It's a kitten crawling up, and he's watching, and he's ready to let the cat see what the little kitten is going to do, if he can make it, before he decides whether he's going to let the kitten come up and cuddle with him, or if he's going to knock the kitten down, or whatever he's going to do. It's that masculine energy of, staying very much, look at his posture, very much um, in the role that he's put into, but also being patient and allowing you to be guided. He's going to guide this kitten. Okay. He understands that this kitten has to learn how to be a cat. He understands that. So you have to trust. This is more, again, going back into the trust issue of trusting, having the other people will have the patience and understanding. If you have the patience, other people will have the understanding. You're going to find relationships that really work for you. But just be remembered that not every relationship works. There's a lot of people that do not get along, and that's just the nature of the thing, or are not that attracted to each other. But here, we're reminded that there are people out there for everybody. There's somebody for everybody. But you have to sometimes understand the rules. You sometimes have to obey those rules, okay? And this is where we come into a very interesting part of this reading. Okay? I have to say to you, everyone that's watching, I haven't been totally honest with you, because I do happen to have TD here with me, and I know a lot about TD. And I'm going to tell you, first of all, that I can see very strongly some of these strains that I found in TD's birth chart, because I know TD and I know how he reacts in certain situations, and I have TD's permission that he doesn't have to remain anonymous anymore. That he's okay with me telling you this part of his private business. But TD, he really does have some problems. He lives with a lot of other people in a house. He lives with a lot of other people, and sometimes they have a lot of different personality types. And TD really has trouble with messes. He really does not like it when people make a mess or they're careless or, they're in spaces that he wants to be. He likes to be with other people, but there's a lot of times he just wants to be by himself. And he feels intruded upon a lot of times. Other things I want to tell you is he also has, he's displaying some tendencies because of his insecurities. He's lashing out in ways that are just not acceptable to the people that live in the house with him. First of all, TD, you need to feel secure. You need to feel happy. Do you just need to clean it more often? If you need to clean it up more often, you need to say something. You need to show us that show us by when it is clean going in the box, and we can see you in the box. Everybody's treating you with a lot of love and respect, and you need to treat us with love and respect too, TD. And that includes everybody else. Not everybody, you know, we give everybody as many boxes as we can possibly give you, but we can't give everybody 4 boxes. And if you really want to go to the bathroom in the middle carpet, I mean, I'm just not going to put a little box there. So you're going to have to come to grips with this. Okay. That's all I have to say about that. I'm very happy to help you however you want. We're all very happy to show you all the love and affection we do find you a wonderful participant in the family. Now, going back to the twin issue, I noticed that your twin does not have the same issue. You share a lot of similarities. You share a lot of ideas. A lot of times, we used to say when you're younger that you had one brain between the two of you. But this is something that separates you very much from your twin. And maybe you could take a lesson from your twin. I don't want to compare you, but maybe you could take a lesson from your twin and follow and see where he wants to go to the bathroom. Okay. I don't know if this is helpful for anybody else or not, but I really enjoyed the reading. Let me change my camera. And there was a reading for TD, and I wasn't quite honest with you. TD is actually one of my cats, and his name is Twitchett. And he does have a twin whose name is Fezziwig. And this is a very real problem that's been plaguing our family for quite a while. Twitchett is not exactly sure about the litter box situation or just about his reactions in person. He will hide, he'll do all kinds of strange things, and we really don't have that many new people coming into the house that are threatening him in any way. It's mostly just us, and he's very, very sensitive. He overreacts to things, and I was real excited to see some of the traits that I know that he has in his birth chart. So that was on the level. That was really on the level. And I feel that this was real reading. Whether or not you can read for your cat or not, I'm not sure. Since the cat can't have a lot of back, but I think a lot of people, if we can have a cat tarot, we can certainly have readings for cats. And I thought it would be fun to try. So I hope you enjoyed that reading. But now on to more serious businesses. We're going to go to our second reading for the 3 for Free day. And this reading, I believe, is for somebody named Ben. I want to tell you a little bit about Ben. Ben is a young adult male. He's pretty young. And as a result, he has a lot of energy and a lot of drive to do things. And he really likes to be around people. He likes people to like him. I was looking at his birth chart, and it says his sun is in Capricorn. So makes him a very tenacious person, and joyfully gets into what he wants to do with great joy. Like he enjoys his work. He enjoys whatever his projects he's working on, which is really good. But he's he doesn't like spontaneity. His moon is in Capricorn, and he doesn't like things spontaneous. But he wants to get some results. That's in his birth chart, and this has interested me a lot because his question has to do with he has so much energy, and he just seems to go. He has a lot of drive and ambition and energy to do things, but he finds that the people that he's around are a little hard to motivate. They don't seem to share the same drive and excitement and enthusiasm that he does, and he's forever trying. And I find that interesting because the sun speaks about he's joyful. He's very joyful and enjoys the results of his efforts, but and he just keeps working, probably for the joy of working. But also, he's not, his moon being in Capricorn, he really, that's what makes him tick. That's how how appreciates, shows his appreciation. By doing, that's how he gets his enjoyment. He doesn't really get his enjoyment so much just about his relationships, but he is very loving. He loves people. He loves the people close to him, but he's kind of shy, so he's not real outgoing. And so that would make sense why he would be concerned with the people around him that are around him that he's comfortable with being around. Don't appreciate his tenacity at trying to do things that produce great results. He wants to get them involved in what he does because that's what he wants to do. He's not trying to do what they want. He wants them to do what he wants. And I thought that was kind of funny. And I mean, not funny, but coincidental. I'm not making fun of your question, Ben. I'm really sorry if you think I am. I just think I always find it so interesting to check into the birth chart because you can see the motivation coming from the time of your birth. You can see what drives you, what motivates you, what you're about. And that is really read into the cards all the time. We see that being shown through the cards all the time, which I find really interesting. Okay, now for this, also for this reading, I decided to use the Divine Canine Tarot. This is a relatively new deck to me. Not really. I guess I haven't had it about a year or so. And there's the book that comes with it. And the reason I'm bringing this up, I want to say, it kind of reminded me of this because, I want to say I'm coming to the end of my tower year. And at the beginning of the year, I did a reading for the whole year. And I was pulling cards every month out of different decks to represent, how is the tower representing the deck. And the first deck that I used for this year was the Canine Tarot, which led me down led me down the road to ruin. I'm not sure, but it led me down this path of comparing, looking at how I'm really seeing the tarot. So different than I did in years past. The tower. It's and especially one of the things I like about it is how this deck portrays it. I hope there's no glare, but can you see that? I'm looking from the booklet here, and it said, in British folklore, the grim is considered an omen of death and destruction. They are said to appear mostly at night as a shadowy dog with glowing eyes and are often accompanied by electrical storms, which, interestingly, we had one last night. It was so fun. But anyway, that sounds really ominous and scary, doesn't it? That sounds horrible. And when I first got this card out, I was thinking, when it came to me in January, I'm thinking, oh no, what's going to happen to me this year? Of course, not knowing what was going to happen. But then I was heartened because I read what it says in the book, in this little booklet about him. And it says, the tower represents a sudden, seemingly negative change. Your foundation is being shaken and everything is in chaos. A lightning represents a sudden, shocking revelation. Okay, now that's the truth, and that is what happened to me. But I want to say the next part of this is, while you are no doubt going through a hard time, take heart in the fact that with any destruction comes the opportunity to create something better. Embrace change because the tower is going to fall, whether you like it or not. Now, when I first read that, I want to say, of course, I found that kind of an ominous thing to say. And it's true, that is an ominous thing. But remember, it's going to fall no matter what. And it fell no matter what. But something is going to come out of it, something even better. And that's really, I think, what is happening. And our way we're looking at things, and everybody says that, but I have to tell you, it's really true. It's really true. It's a hard thing to go through when it's happening, but once you get out of that, once you go on to the star, once you see the light at the end of the tunnel, right? It's going to be a whole new world. It's going to be a whole new world for you. So I was really heartened in that very much. Um, so let's see what the cards have to say for Ben. Okay, so I'm going to turn the camera around and see what the Divine Canine Tarot has to say for Ben. Hope it'll be as helpful as it was for me. Okay, for Ben's reading, I chose to use the 3 cards to represent a situation and don't do this and do this, because it is a situation with Ben. He wants to motivate. He wants to see how he can motivate. He's feeling sad about not being able to motivate. And he wants to know how he can motivate, bring fire to the, bring fire, some passion to his friends, to his people, his relationships, his family, whoever's close to him. And interesting, and this is a reading I want to say that this is one of the first readings we go over in our tarot classes, in our beginning tarot classes. We do a lot of 3-card readings in the beginning, and we show all different ways to read them. And this is one. And I use the center card. The center card is the situation. This is don't do this, and this is do this. Okay, so we're clear. But here, if I can show you, we have the Hierophant here, and the Caroline Tarot guidebook says, think of the coyote, the legend of the coyote, and how the coyote brings fire to the people. And that's what Ben is trying to do, isn't he? He's trying to inspire others. Look how that came up in such a good fashion. That was wonderful. And you can't see it very much, but you can very much see it's a coyote with fire, and that's all that counts. It's a light in a very, very darkness, and most of the time, we see work as, drudgery. Well, Ben apparently does not. Ben, that's where he's very fond of his work. He's very proud of what he does. He's very good at it. He's very tenacious. He likes to do it. He just makes it a part of his very beingness, his jobs. And but he wants to do them in a way that he can appreciate them, that they mean something, and he's trying to get others to do the same. He's like the cheerleader in the group, right? Okay. Well, it's the cards are saying here, the Hierophant here in this deck, because the Hierophant is about educating, bringing people to the everybody on the same page. We think of the traditions of maybe education or the churches or the established churches or whatever. This is about conforming to a traditions of some kind, and he's taking his job and trying to spread that and make that the same for everybody. But actually, things need to be changed, because this we're bringing this back in. The situation being about Ben, it's not about his brother or his sister or his father or mother. It's not about those things. It's about Ben being his own fire. You have been trying to motivate other people, and you haven't really done it, and that's really not your job, Ben. Your job, it says here, is to you need to be your own teacher. You need to, maybe sometimes you have to follow. You can't always be the leader. You cannot always be the leader. That's people don't appreciate that, and maybe that's what you're doing. Maybe that's what's causing this problem for you, that you're trying to get people involved in things they don't want to be involved in. They just want to get the job done and go home. They don't want to live for their job, or whatever the situation is. Okay, so that's very much this situation here with Ben. Now we want to go back and say, don't do this. Do not do this. Which here we have the Knight of Coins. Well, the Knight of Coins is always, Knight cards are always good. Coins, it's about your home, your family, or your job, your work. And I find that interesting, because both here we have the balance, and here, like we had the balance before, we see now a balance in coins. Just how we saw balance in the reading that we did for TD, and we saw the balance between the feminine and masculine. Here we see the balance are both coins. They're both coins, right? So we have to see the balance, how that balances out, both to do with this practical material world of whatever his job, whatever Ben sees his job is that he wants to motivate for, whether it's at home or whether it's at work or whatever it is. Do not do this, the reading says. Do not do this. The Knight of Coins is always, it's a hard-working card, yeah, and we can see he's ready to go. He's in position to take a leap, right? He's going to go forward. But it's saying he's ready to go, but it's really not time for him to go yet, because maybe is he ignoring some task that he might have to complete that is necessary. Maybe he's so focused in on this motivating other people that he might be stuck. He might be stuck in routines, and it might be stifling to yourself, both yourself and others. And didn't that fit in with what we said about Ben's um, he's totally blocks out his distractions when he has his mind. His sun in Capricorn, he's so focused in on this on his job that he's sort of not thinking of anything else, right? And his moon in Capricorn, it, his practical he prefers these practical things, and in doing so, maybe he needs to motivate somebody in somebody other way. Just because he's motivated by the work and by the job itself, that doesn't mean other people are. Other people are usually motivated by things such as having a good time, having fun, relaxing, enjoyment, maybe music or dance or something, do something more like creativity, not just practicality. He's so stuck in everything he does being in this practical material area, right? That it might be stifling both himself and others. It might be stifling himself that he doesn't want to do other things, and it might be stifling the people around him. We see do this in the Six of Coins. What should he do? Well, here, this is the card of giving and receiving, right? And here we see this little dog giving, bringing, balancing between. There's a balance. He's holding a scale representing balance, and it's about. Is there someone you need to give something to rather than expecting people to join you on your quest? Do you need to give them something they need? Maybe they don't want to get enthused. Maybe they're not enthusiastic about something because maybe they're depressed, or maybe they don't know how. Maybe they don't have the skills, or maybe they don't find enjoyment in something. They find enjoyment somewhere else. Maybe they don't feel secure that they want to go on any further in that area or whatever. There's so many things. There's so many things to integrate yourself with people. It's not always going to happen through your job. A person's job is usually very personal. Like, even if you work in the same place, what your job description is and how you go about satisfying that job is not always the same as the way somebody else would do it. So maybe, Ben, you're too focused on the same thing. Okay. Now, what I want to do here is what I want to say is, some of you might be thinking, well, these are not necessarily the traditional meanings for some of these cards. Well, they kind of are, because I'm thinking that Ben's situation, and for that matter, both TD and the question that we're going to be doing next, are all like kind of shadowy questions. And that sort of happens at this time of the year. We're coming into darkness. We are seeing these dark times. It's dark. I'm trying to get this reading done before I lose my light. So we're also looking at the shadow meaning of these cards. I tend to do that at this time of the year, because it's not just all about, oh yes, we're going to share something with less unfortunate, share our gifts. It might be, but there's some more shadow involved in that. There is in order for us to get what we want, we need to create the balance. Okay. Now I want to tell you, Ben. Ben, this is Ben. This is Ben. I know Ben, and Ben is here with me today. That's another surprise if you haven't already guessed it. And Ben is here for me today because Ben is very much involved. He dealt with his kind of isolation. Everybody's been kind of isolated for the last couple of years. Limited in his activities more than he was, when he was much younger. And he takes it very seriously, his positioning with his he's using he creates jobs for himself. They say if you're a dog handler, they say that you will create jobs for yourself. If you don't give a job to a dog, they will create a job for themselves, and that's what he has done. And he's created these little make-believe jobs that they're getting out of control, because it's starting to be inconvenient for other people the way he is doing. And I'm going to let you meet Ben, and then I'm going to show you what I mean. My advice to you, Ben, is just we need to deal with this a little better. I don't think we're dealing with it the way we should, and I can see now from your reading today that this where this is going. It's we thought it was cute in the beginning. Your trying to include blue and everything, and trying to and mark places where when we leave the room where you put blue by the chair, and doing these things and trying to incorporate blue with Louie and with the cats and with everybody. And now it's grown into now there's a red ball involved, and you're not just doing that with blue, you're starting to do it with red and blue, and it's just getting a little bit too much for you. You're getting overwhelmed with your jobs, and really we need to get you to relax a little bit and have a little more fun in life. And yes, it's fun. It's nice to have the focus that you have, and we're really proud of you. You have such a bright future, and you really can accomplish a lot of things because you do have a joy for life, and it's very appreciated. But we need to give you another outlet other than your jobs of what you're doing with blue and now with red as well. Okay. That was a little fun. Our third reading is for someone named Louise. This is a young female. She's the youngest of many children, and I think she feels a little overshadowed, perhaps by the older children, some of her older siblings. And she's very determined. She wants to know how she can be appreciated for who she is. What can she do to be appreciated? She just feels overshadowed. And I think that happens to a lot of us. So we're going to take a look at Louise's reading. And one thing different about Louise's reading today is the fact that we're going to be using the Santa Muerte Tarot. And I have done this before. This is the one I usually use at Samhain. This is a lovely, the Santa Muerte deck is beautiful, beautiful illustrations and celebrating the dead. And that's why we're choosing to do this, because we're good. I'm going to do a little different reading today. I don't usually do, because it's a 3-card reading, and a lot of people for 3-card readings do past, present, future. I don't usually ever use past, present, future solely. It's not something that works for me. I know what happened in the past. The future, we can change the future at any time, so I don't like it in that traditional just 3 cards, past, present, future. But we are going to use past, present, future for Louise, because I want very much to talk about, because we're going to say, we're dealing with people that came before her, right? And the impressions that they made, and then that would be past, perhaps. Present is about her right now and her feelings of inadequacy is dealing with her in the present, and the future is how she wants to be appreciated. So it is kind of a linear reading, but also we're going to get advice from the dead. Now, not to imply that all of Louise's siblings are dead. It's just that we're talking about a time that is past, and when we're talking about the dead, they are giving advice from the time that they, the wisdom that they received when they were alive, and the lessons that they learned when they were alive. That's why we cherish and we want to communicate with them in a lot of ways, other than we miss them. But that they were not forgotten, that we learned from them, whether they're here or not. So I thought it might be interesting, especially because we're approaching Samhain, to use this kind of a Santa Muerte deck and see what the dead have to say, or their ancestors have to say, whatever we want to call them, for Louise and her relationship problems today. So I'm going to change my camera, and I'm going to we'll look at the Santa Muerte deck and see what it has to say. Hope you can see okay. A couple of these cards are a little dark, but I'll hold it up so you can see it. But again, we're looking at Louise, a young female, youngest of many children, and wants to know why she feels a little overshadowed by the older children, the children that were made before her. She feels compared. Oh, I identify with you, Louise. First, I want to say, because my sibling, my older brother, we lived in a small town, and my older brother was, we were baby boomers, born after World War II, and where people started, the GIs coming home, started families, and the male children particularly were very valuable. I guess a lot of the males had been lost. So male children were very, very valued here in the States at that time. And oh, my brother was an overachiever and he favorite of the teachers and a favorite of people in the town. And I was compared to him constantly. I know what that feels like. It wasn't anybody's fault. It was fine. But it's a natural thing, I guess. But sometimes you can't help but to be compared. But let's look at it and see what that is, really. I see from your birth chart, first of all, Louise, that you have your, let's see, I'm looking at my notes here. You have, your sun is an Aquarius. So your friends are important to you. People are important to you. And you don't make, you like, particularly people who don't demand things of you. And perhaps that is maybe you're feeling that people are expecting you, the demands that they might expect you to be a little more about than some of your older siblings. Maybe you feel that is causing pressure. Whether that's true or not, that's just how you feel. So it's very valid if it's how you feel. So sometimes that makes just your emotions go out of whack a little bit. And your emotions have to do with your moon in Libra. And you really do, your relationships with your close people, your siblings and people close to you, it's very important. And you really would have a better relationship with your siblings than with strangers. You're not so comfortable with strangers. So, this is, rather than if something comes up that you think you're being treated unfairly, sometimes you might be, just letting, burying those feelings and letting your emotions take over. And that will cause your insecurities too, if you don't deal with things when they're out in the open. So we'll see what the dead has to say, okay? Again, with the Santa Muerte deck. The Seven of Pentacles, we see a man who has an abacus. He's behind his abacus. The abacus is an ancient counting device, and his little, instead of beads on the wires, it's little skulls. I don't know if you can see that or not. The Seven of Pentacles is all about, stepping back and you've worked hard and taking stock of what you've done, and that's what he's doing. He's moving the little skulls on his abacus, but it's about your progress, your own personal progress. And in this case, since it's in the past situation here, and your concern is with your older siblings, that it is taking stock of what they have done and worrying that you're not living up to it, or people might not conceive you as having the same value as your older siblings have. You're just now coming into the age that you're going to be noticed for who your unique qualities are going to be noticed. And that's important. That's the importance of this card. Okay. So the dead just are advising you about that, to just stay calm. And you will start to be appreciation that is uniquely yours. Like everybody is celebrating. We tend to celebrate. I have 3 children, and we celebrate all of them, and they're all completely different. And I think at one time or another, it's natural for siblings to feel jealous of the other ones, whether they're older or younger, or middle. And you're uniquely different. You can even see that in my cats. I want to tell you, we know dogs are very attached to each other, but in my cats, I've always had a lot of cats in my house. And when we lose a cat or gain a new cat, the whole hierarchy of the cats changes. And even though they're not pack animals, they're not supposed to be pack animals, they're very much who they are because of who's around them. So everybody has, all kinds of people have this kind of issue. If it's not who you are in your family, it's who you are in a group. It's who you are in the office with all the other people that work with you. It's who you are in your circle of friends. It's who you are in the center of your hobbies. People at all times sometimes feel insecure because other people are overshadowed. But the dead are reminding us that we are all unique, and we will receive appreciation for who we are. But in order for us to be appreciated, what we have done is to be appreciated too. And you can't appreciate your work without appreciating you. That's what I want to say. Okay. Now, second card is the present card. Oh my goodness, this is scary. Is it scary? Well, not at all. This is Santa Muerte, and this is the death card in this deck. Well, okay. Um, but it's not a bad card. I mean, yes, it is the end of things. It is the end of things. But we're talking about the present time. We're gonna get rid of these feelings of insecurities that have come from, you know, not worrying that you're not being appreciated, because Santa Muerte talks about in this deck that we are connected to everything that surrounds us, to those who came before us and to those who come after, just like I've already said. Okay, we are not the same. We are not opposites, but rather we complement each other. Okay, so Louise, you can compare yourself. We're not comparing you um, any more than we're appreciating you for your uniqueness. And we're going to get a little more into that in a minute. Okay. And finally, we have in the third position, which is the future card, how this can work. And I love this because the Chariot card here says the road has been cleared and the Chariot is ready for action to spread your own influence, okay, and inspire others in their efforts. And this is, again, we're going to be talking a little bit about this a little bit more in a minute, but I just would like to run through here quick. I love this card because here this is the Chariot, and usually we see the Chariot with the horses or the dogs or the lions or whatever is driving it. But here it's set up almost like a parade, and we have a procession of the young skeletons, female skeleton, the young dead or the dead procession. And this, this Chariot here is uniquely, the face inside, very special, uniquely. It's so unique that it's being unveiled as the parade progresses. And the dead are saying here, take courage to the road you've decided to face. It's not letting yourself be overwhelmed by your emotions. Don't let your emotions, you parade yourself, you be yourself. Don't let insecurities about people around you, or people being better than you, or people thinking other people were better than you or need more attention than you. You be your own parade. You show your own uniqueness and it'll be appreciated. Okay. This is really important. And I want to say, I understand this card particularly is something that I was really, the Santa Muerte card is, in this deck, I appreciate so much because, the whole card's about death. So the death card can't really be so scary because the whole deck is. And here we see the pregnant, death, but the crone, the dead, with the pregnant, with what is coming new. And that's what we as Wiccans celebrate, okay? At this time of the year, the god has died, but the seed of the god is within the crone waiting to be born when the light returns at Yule. And that's part of Wicca. That's part of the practice of Wicca. But other than that, the idea of complementing each other, I want you to think about it, Louise. I know it's hard for you, particularly because you can't help but compare yourself with Roxanne, who did come before you, and she didn't just come before you. She's now deceased. She was a favorite in the yard. She was one of the favorites, and I particularly had a special had a place in my heart for her. I've spent a lot of spa time with her, so I know what you mean. But you're in with a lot of other sisters, and you've had a lot of sisters come before you, and you're all unique. You don't all look alike. You don't all lay the same amount of eggs. You don't all, you're not all leaders. Some of you are followers. You're not all, there's a lot. You're not all that comfortable around people. You're not the same. You're all uniquely different, but you're loved for who you are, and you're appreciated for what you are. And you are there because of those who came before you, of the flocks that we had before the present flock. If we would not have had, a wonderful relationship with Roxanne, first of all, we would not have gotten another hen like her, the same type of hen she is, which is a barred rock. We really fell in love with them barred rocks. And because we were so fond of them, we love the temperament. And you displayed a lot of the characteristics that Roxanne had, but you're very unique for who you are. Okay. There's nothing, you don't have the same qualifications same characteristics as, Poppy, or as, Hattie Bun Bun, or Gracie, or um, Edith, or you all have you're uniquely you. You're uniquely you, and accept that you're loved for that. That you accept for who you are loved. You accept for who you are. Okay, and what you're yet to become. You're still very young. You're not even a year old yet, so you have a lot of time to prove your value to the flock. Okay. Don't let yourself be overwhelmed. Just enjoy. You have a wonderful home here, and you have a lot of people who love you, and you have siblings who love you, and just accept that and rejoice and parade your good self in good conscience around the yard. Thank you for being such a good girl. Well, I don't know if anybody is going to even see this video because I don't get a lot of views on these tarot readings, but um, it was fun. It was fun doing readings for my three of my family members that you might not know. But to be honest, I have to say that there's no reason that we cannot incorporate our knowledge of tarot and use it to help out members of our family who might have issues. No, they don't come to me and tell me with words when they have these insecurities or problems. But when you're in a house and you're living with your pets or your chickens, you get to understand who they are. You watch for their behavior and their attitudes and things. You can tell when things are bothering them and things that might need a little bit of. We need to get some insight. And I can see very clearly that I need to get a little more involved in trying to help them out with some of the issues that they're having. I think the tarot made that very clear for me today. I hope you learned something from this. If not, I hope you enjoyed it. If not, I'm sorry. Tarot is Tarot Tuesdays are reserved for tarot on my channel. So if this is not your thing, we'll see you another day. For the rest of you, thank you so much for watching. Like always, I am Rebecca, and I wish you blessings.